Hi, it's Angela. I want to go through just a couple pointers for your invert. Many people get to their invert and then they struggle with keeping their contact points as they're transitioning to inside leg hang, outside leg hang, and vice versa. So I want to talk about some key points here. Your basic invert is basically your pole stand, it's just upside down. So think about those that inner thigh squeeze and that internal rotation. So when you are on the pole, squeezing, and I know I have the camera angled a little bit here, but I just want you to focus on the legs. You have that inner thigh squeeze, so it's squeezing, and then there's that internal rotation. So I have that internal rotation happening too. So from the floor, when I am in my invert, okay, I have that inner thigh squeeze and that internal rotation, and that's going to stay constant. The other thing is you want the hips, when you get into your leg hangs, to focus on keeping them square with the ceiling. So if I come into that inside leg hang, that inside leg, I'm keeping the inner thigh squeeze as I bring that knee down. So the squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Turn a little bit this way. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Bringing that knee towards my chest. Keep that squeeze. All right, if I let that go, I'm going to come off, right? So I need to keep that squeeze the whole time. Bring that through. You can even use that leg or that arm to help hold that leg. But ideally, you want to be hands-free. So when I switch to that inside leg hang, I want to let that back leg drop down, and I want those hips to angle up and be square with the ceiling. So from the inside leg hang, this is a pretty easy thing to do to keep them square with the ceiling. It's the outside leg hang that creates that struggle. So when I bring that outside leg back around and I squeeze, I want to think about trying to stack those knees and switch. So again, this is the transfer. You want to find those contact points before you go there. So I'm squeezing the inner thighs, keep them squeezed, find that pike maybe, keep the inner thigh squeeze as I transfer outside leg hang. So I'm still squeezing, okay, as I transfer, and I want to push the hips up to square. When you're in the outside leg hang or transitioning, your body tends to tip. When we tip, if I were to tip this way, as what tends to happen, I lose this point of contact and I tend to come down. So as I am transferring into that outside leg hang, I want to think about pushing that inside hip up into the pole, square with the ceiling. So if I push that inside hip up and the weight is pulling down on that outside hip, I have that square positioning. Push with the inside, pulling down with the outside. That creates that lock for that leg hang that's going to help you stay in place. All right. So another thing to think about, and I'll show you from this angle, is if I'm in that inside leg hang, I want to twist to the inside. That's going to help keep you in that positioning. That's going to keep you locked on the pole. If I'm in the outside leg hang, I don't want to turn inside because that's going to make me lose that point of contact with that inside hip. So I want to twist to the outside, and that's going to allow me to push that hip up, an inside hip up, and have better contact with the pole because my weight's going to be shifted out this way. So that again creates that push and that pull. So squaring those hips up towards the ceiling is your goal with that inside and outside leg hang. If I just take that off the floor a little bit here to show you where, oops, take that up. So again, if I'm in my inside leg hang, I'm going to just slightly twist to the inside, okay? Hips are square with the ceiling. When I bring that transfer around to the outside, I'm keeping that squeeze. I want to keep that inside hip pushing up into the pole. So if that hip pushes up as this one pulls down, keep that point of contact there and twist to the outside. And that's going to help you maintain that push and pull as you go through. Make sure you breathe into each pose before you transfer into the next. Take that breath and think about Where's your point of contact and how does it change as you move into the next pose, no matter what it is that you're doing in your combo, in your invert. And you should always know those points of contact before you go there. Don't try to figure them out when you're there. Safety first. See you next time.